Now it's my pleasure to introduce our spring commencement speaker, Dr. Maurice Daniels, who is currently the Dean of the School of Social Work. This summer, he will shift his focus from leading the School of Social Work to devoting more time to research, in particular his studies on the Civil Rights Movement and his work with the Foot Soldier Project for Civil Rights Studies, which he co-founded in 1999 and now directs. As Dean, Dr. Daniels advanced interdisciplinary scholarship and social justice through the development of new degrees, endowed professorships, and a research center. During his tenure, the school created dual Master of Social Work degrees in law, public health, and divinity, each one a first for the state of Georgia. He also led efforts to endow 2 professorships, the Donald L. Hollowell Distinguished Professorship of Social Justice and Civil Rights Studies, the university's first distinguished professorship named for an African American, and the Georgia Athletic Association Professorship in Health and Well-Being. In addition, he ushered in the creation of the Interdisciplinary Center for Social Justice, Human and Civil Rights. Dr. Daniels is the author of Saving the Soul of Georgia, Donald L. Hollowell and the Struggle for Civil Rights, and Horace T. Ward, Desegregation of the University of Georgia, Civil Rights Advocacy and Jurisprudence. He's also the executive director of 4 critically acclaimed public television documentaries. Dr. Daniels holds bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees from Indiana University. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Dr. Maurice Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your very generous and kind remarks. And thanks, Dean Barber, for the opportunity to speak on this very, very auspicious occasion. I am deeply honored and humbled. Greetings to the illustrious class of 2016. Congratulations on your extraordinary accomplishments. In just a few moments, President Moorhead will confer graduate degrees. You will have the special distinction of being among only about 10% of the United States population to hold graduate degrees. And for those of you who earn doctoral degrees today, you will represent only about 2% of the United States population. It is indeed a very unique and eminent distinction to hold a graduate degree. But as I reflect today on your eminent distinction, I'm reminded of a story of 4 individuals aboard a plane. The foursome included the pilot, an eminent professor, an elderly minister, and a young schoolboy. The pilot suddenly announced that the plane was destined to crash. He informed them that there were only 3 parachutes aboard. The pilot bailed out in one of the parachutes. The eminent professor stood up and said, "I am a genius, and the world needs me, so I must have a parachute." So he bailed out after the pilot. The pastor then said to the young schoolboy, "There's only one parachute left. I'm an old man. I have lived a full life, and I have made my peace with my Maker. You take the remaining parachute." The young boy said to the minister, "No, sir. We have 2 parachutes left. That genius took my book bag." So we must be reminded that in spite of our eminence and academic achievements, a teaspoon of mother wit and a dose of common sense are indispensable assets. Congratulations again for your distinguished achievements. History nor the passing of time will be able to dim the brilliance of your high academic achievements. Your achievement is even more distinctive because you will earn a degree from the University of Georgia, Georgia's flagship institutions and one of the most preeminent institutions anywhere in the world. In light of your distinction today, as you commence your future dreams and fashion your careers, I humbly offer a few guiding principles. First, I urge you to continue with fervent resolve down the path of intellectual rigor and high standards that brought you to this moment in time. Don't just set out to do a good job, but strive to do your very best and resist mediocrity in any form. I encourage you to follow your passion with unbridled enthusiasm and imagination. The world needs your creative ideals, and you owe it to yourself to be bold and courageous and unrestrained in pursuit of your dreams. I also submit today that there is a sacred call for you to utilize your graduate education, talents, and abilities to make this world in which we live a better place. Despite our meteoric technological advances and even our abundance of wealth, poverty continues to plague our society. As the beneficiaries of graduate education, I submit that we are especially called to make the bountiful harvest of science and technology available to the masses. As you excel in your chosen professions, I submit that you must cross and even transcend your chosen disciplines to alleviate human suffering and to advance human prosperity. As noted by America's esteemed civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King, he eloquently stated, life's most persistent question is, what are we doing for others? If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living will not be in vain. In capturing our responsibility for human uplift, former Vice President Hubert Humphrey once said, "The moral test of government is how we treat those in the dawn of life, our children, and how we treat those in the twilight of life, our elderly, and how we treat those who sometimes live in the shadow of life, the oppressed, the sick, and those living in poverty." And I hasten to say to you today that the moral test for those of us who hold graduate degrees is how we treat those in the dawn and the twilight and those living in the shadow of life. In your future endeavors, I also charge you to embrace the concept of justice for all. This charge is as old as the scriptures and is codified in the founding principles of our great nation. The prophet Micah calls us to do justly, to show kindness and mercy. And one of the founding principles of our democracy calls us to hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, and if you could allow me to editorialize, and women are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. So irrespective of your chosen discipline, we are challenged to affirm the human dignity of all Americans, and indeed of all persons around the globe. Although it will sometimes take vigilance and determination in our quest for a more perfect union, do not be discouraged. For I am convinced that moral authority and love will ultimately defeat those oppositional forces of bigotry and hatred. The moral arc of our universe is long, but it sways toward justice. I also challenge you today to hold integrity as your highest principle. Subscribe to whatever is true, embrace whatever is noble, and do whatever is right. In our land of the free and home of the brave, make your life and the practice of your chosen profession be a model of integrity and moral authority. And finally, I challenge you to remember the simple but very profound words of the Chinese proverb. Let those who drink the water today remember with gratitude those who dug the wells. Always honor your parents, your spouses, your communities, and even past generations that made this glorious day possible. And as you reflect on life's most persistent question, if you continue to practice the highest standards, adopt a spirit of unbridled enthusiasm, hold integrity as your utmost principle, and embrace those in the dawn, the twilight, and the shadow of life, then the degrees that will be conferred on you on this auspicious day shall not and will not be in vain. Thank you very much, and peace unto you.